Hi, I'm Brian Lord, Senior Vice President here at Premier Speakers Bureau, and today we have with us Jim Murphy, founder of Afterburner, author of 5 books, including the newest book, Courage to Execute. So Murph, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to be here.
So what was the purpose? Why did you write Courage to Execute?
Well, Courage to Execute is about the ability of organizations to continue to push boundaries, have a bias to action in complex environments. We found out that a lot of leaders from the C-suite all the way down to your frontline leaders seem paralyzed in today's complex world because they're looking for perfect data, almost perfect information to deploy themselves, to deploy their plans, to deploy their sales teams, to get operationally proficient. And in today's complex world, it's really important to always be moving forward, to have a biased action. So Courage to Execute is something that we put out to help leaders understand how to navigate this world of complexity while having a bias to action without having perfect data.
Now, how does someone get a bias to action?
Well, it starts with a good process. It also starts with commitment from the leadership. And once the leadership has made that commitment, how does that message cascade throughout the organization, but more importantly, create a biased action? So that's where the process comes in. We talk a lot about the process of planning, but more importantly, we also talk about the process of holding individuals accountable for team plans and then shifting through proper debriefing, or what we call XGAP meetings. Because in complex environments, if your plans have long timelines, you don't get a chance to adapt and adjust in complex environments. So it's getting down to those shorter missions and having a solid process around planning, briefing, executing, debriefing, and making an adjustment. Because the key is you want to stay at the same rate of change or slightly ahead of the rate of change in complex environments. So those adjustments through proper debriefing allows an organization to have the bias to action. But it requires a courage to execute in order to pull off a debriefing.
Now, a lot of people have had maybe Afterburner before or been considering Afterburner as the keynote. How does this differ from sort of your normal Afterburner keynote?
This one goes a lot more into detail around business, the history of business, not necessarily the history of business as a whole, but how we got to this place where we are today, from Moore's Law, rapid changing, complexity that's going on. You know, we find out a lot of our customers are talking about being agile. How do we pivot? How do we stay at the same rate of change? So this is all about speed and executing in today's complex environments. So it has a lot more business involved in this. We talk about our military backgrounds. More importantly, though, we talk about speed and using the proper tools to have a bias to action in unknown environments or challenging environments.
Now, one of the things that we always try to do here at Premier is we want to make sure that event planners, we want to make your life easier and make you look good. How do you do that when you deliver your Courage to Execute keynote? How do you make the event planner look good? How do you make their life easier?
Well, the event planner is the most important person, as you know. So we want to make sure that, first of all, that we understand not only what's going to require out of us to pull off a perfect event from the event planner's perspective, being on time, in the right area, aligned, but we also want to go deeper. We want to ask that event planner, is it okay if we partner with your client group, maybe the executive that's sponsoring the meeting, and we truly want to ask some questions around complexity, their current environment, so we can weave that customization into the message.
Well, Jim, just want to say, or Murph, if you want to go with call signs, I think event planners should have call signs. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll give you one if you need one. But so Murph, thanks so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.